It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's all good, man. The Better Call Saul podcast. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is New Haircut Dave. New Haircut Dave, how you doing, guy?
I got many hairs cut, Brian.
You did. You look significantly less shaggy than the last time I saw you.
Well, thank you very much. I was growing it out for a Halloween show where I'm supposed to be somebody super shaggy, long goatee, and a leisure suit, a Muppet.
Right.
But I'm just going to get a wig because my hair doesn't get shagged like it needs to be shagged.
Gotcha. Dave and I also host a Nothing Important podcast. You can find that on iTunes or at nothingimportantpodcast.com, where Dave and I talk to people more notable than we will ever be. Coming up this week, or our last episode, probably by the time this is released, we have Brian Howie from The Great Love Debate. It's a Podcast One podcast, and essentially he holds symposiums about love and relationship, and rumor is I might actually be on the dais the next time that they record a live episode in Chicago.
That's very interesting because as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, I was going to say he's a very charismatic person. He's pretty funny and much more charisma than you or I possess.
Right. So, but it'd be fun if I get down on the dais and I get to be a love expert, and that should be humorous. But that's all way down the road. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to call Ann Lerner, Dave. Ann Lerner is the film liaison for the city of Albuquerque. And she had a big hand in bringing Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul to Albuquerque.
That's super cool. I'm actually pretty interested to hear how that came about.
Well, how it came about actually was I tried to get a hold of the mayor, Mayor Richard Berry. I tried to get him on the show because I figured, here's this fictional universe full of nothing but...
I meant how the show came to Albuquerque, not how you scored the interview.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. But yeah, anyway, she's coming up in a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and give her a ring on the Someone Important hotline. Before then, for everybody out there, we get good comments on our theme song all the time. And Dave, they can actually buy it now, right? On iTunes.
Yes, it is for sale on iTunes. It is titled It's All Good, Man. And look for the guy with the devil face. We'll post a picture of it and a link to it underneath the episode description.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to have it in there. It's a different, it's like jazz dance. It's a little bit different. Well, we can hear it at the top of this episode, right?
Right. Yeah. You technically heard it coming into the episode.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, I was thinking about this. It's in the off season because we are probably one of the few Better Call Saul podcasts to actually do stuff in the off season.
Correct.
And, you're getting busier and I got all sorts of bullshit going on. So it's been a little bit more difficult for me to, my goal was to get somebody every month. So it's been about a month and a half since we had our last interview for It's All Good, Man. But I'm just happy to be on It's All Good, Man again. It's nice to get it out there.
Yeah, I miss you guys. I hope you miss us, or I don't know.
Also, another thing is I actually found a Better Call Saul shirt.
Really?
Yeah, remember, I don't know if you guys recall, but during season 2, AMC sent me a case of Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad shirts, and throughout the season we had all sorts of great contests. And I footed the postage just because I'm magnanimous as fuck like that and sent out it had to be 50, 60 t-shirts that I sent out. The other day I was cleaning my cubicle here in our room and I found a t-shirt just hanging around and I'm not going to keep it. So we got to have some sort of contest to get the t-shirt.
Yeah, I was going to say, do I smell a contest here, Brian?
I was thinking it'd be something fun if somebody sent me a postcard from wherever they at wherever they're at, but I don't necessarily want to give out my home address on the podcast, especially when thousands of people listen to it.
Yeah.
Because, now we own a business and I could give the business address, but then I'm sure my wife who tends to the business, because essentially it's her business. I change light bulbs in the place. My wife is the mastermind and she does, I take no bones away from it. She is the business and I sweep spider webs off the ceiling twice a year. I thought about having them sent there, but then I was like, nah, she doesn't need a bunch of extra clutter. So, I'm going to keep working on interviews. And the next time that we record, it's Saul Goodman. Make sure that you tune in, and I'll have some sort of fun contest for you guys who can win the last shirt.
I like it. Let's roll with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to call our friend Ann Lerner, the film liaison from Albuquerque, and we're going to get her on the horn, and we're going to ask her how she got Breaking Bad, or Better Call Saul, into Albuquerque, how it's affected tourism down there, and what other projects coming up we can expect based in Albuquerque. Because it has to have a super positive effect. One mega king of TV show has filmed there,
right?
And then you have Better Call Saul, which admittedly it's not as big as Breaking Bad, but it's part of that world, and it is insanely popular. So it'll be interesting to see how that has affected Albuquerque as a filming location, going forward.
I have a great phrase that I'm going to use
during the interview.
Yes.
All right, we'll hold that thought, and we're going to call Ann Lerner, film liaison for Albuquerque, New Mexico.
It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man.
Dave, we have Ann Lerner, the film liaison for Albuquerque, New Mexico, on the Somewhat Important Hotline. Ann, welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Thank you. I don't know if you've ever listened to our podcast before, but Dave and I were fans of Better Call Saul and, of course, Breaking Bad. And in our little podcast here, we've managed to talk to a lot of the cast and crew, and it's been a really great adventure for Dave and I. AMC has been great to us. They've sent us stuff to send to listeners. And, last year we got to go view the finale taping of Talking Saul out in Los Angeles. So it's just been, they've been really wonderful to us. And we try in the off season to keep the interviews going, try to keep the our fans entertained. And I was presented with the opportunity to speak with you. And I'm like, wow, that is so interesting. So I guess where we could start off is, maybe you can give us a brief description of what a film liaison actually does.
I have a very difficult job. I sit around in my Barco Lounger and read scripts and then try to encourage the script, the TV show or movie to come to Albuquerque.
That's awesome. Now, do you have do you give them a pitch? Do you explain how you see Albuquerque as a character in the show? Or what's that process like where you're like, hey, we are the location for you?
Very specifically for this topic, for Breaking Bad, I read back in 2006, I believe, I did have the pleasure of reading the pilot for Breaking Bad. And it was amazing. It was the most amazing pilot I had. I mean, what an honor. And I still have that pilot.
That's awesome.
And I called Sony and said, wow, this is just an amazing pilot. And you're going to set it in Albuquerque? And they said, oh, yes, we want to embrace Albuquerque.
Huh.
Wow.
And I said, and we want you to, too.
That's great. So you guys agree that Albuquerque is going to be the location. Do you take the crew and the producers on a tour of Albuquerque? Do you kind of give them an idea of hey, look at this great bluff in the background. This is what our downtown looks like.
Initially, we've been so successful in having filming in Albuquerque and in New Mexico. A lot of people are familiar with what the city looks like. Back in 2006, we did tour, as I recall, to make sure that this was something that Mr. Gilligan would want. And I think he fell in love with it and really incorporated it.
Has there been a large increase in inquiries to film in Albuquerque since Breaking Bad?
I think what's really amazing, first of all, New Mexico was the very first state in the union to offer a film incentive to attract filmmaking to our state. Huh. It was shortly followed by Louisiana, and at one time 43 states offered incentives. So, our incentive is very, very strong. The number of films and TV shows that we have are significant. And our governor now, Susana Martinez, signed into law a couple of years ago what was the Breaking Bad bill, which gives an additional 5% for television.
Oh.
The mayor of Albuquerque, R.J. Berry, is very, very film-friendly. And it's easy to film in Albuquerque, basically. If I could just tout my own horn for just a second, or the office's horn, in 2014, the Location Managers Guild Association had a contest for the best film office in the world, and Albuquerque, New Mexico won. And it was for our work with Breaking Bad and The Lone Survivor.
Wow.
Oh. So that was pretty cool. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's very cool. So I'm assuming you get to meet with the cast and such from time to time?
The people that my office generally meets with and deals the most with are the location managers and location scouts.
Yeah, because we talked to a couple of those guys too. I was just saying, next time you talk to those folks, you should mention us, and we've talked to enough of them now where they'd probably be like, "Oh my gosh, those guys got you on the phone too."
Yeah, no, it's keeping Albuquerque film friendly is our number one priority. So it's a balance between keeping the community film friendly and satisfied, but also keeping the production. And as you know, productions, things happen. We need a tolerance for ambiguity. It might rain. The talent might get sick. Things are going to change at the last minute. But the city is very adaptable for that.
That's great. And, and the beauty of, we've when we talked to some of the crew, they said one of the beautiful things about the desert out there is you could just kind of tilt the camera and it looks like an entirely different landscape. So yeah. it's great because you literally have infinite set pieces where you're at.
Have you ever been out here? I'll buy you lunch if you come on over.
Oh man, I would absolutely love to. I haven't been to New Mexico in years, but Dave was out there more recently than I have been. But if I come out to New Mexico, I would totally love to sit and chat with you, and we would record It's All Good Men live.
Yes, that sounds fantastic. We have a variety of location looks, and it's really fun. I mean, think about well, I don't want to do any spoilers, but the scene over the billboard where the man fell.
Oh, spoil away. Mm-hmm. You can spoil away. We do recaps of every episode, so you're not going to spoil anything.
Oh, okay. So I was driving to work in downtown Albuquerque, and I'm on I-25 heading south, and that's where the billboard was. And there were just a few signs up that said filming ahead, but it was just way off on the side. And it really didn't garner that much attention. It was pretty interesting.
I know here in Chicago, they in my particular neighborhood, they film a lot of TV shows like Chicago Fire, All Police Bulletin, Transformers, they film all sorts of stuff. And that's interesting that people just kind of let them go about their business in Albuquerque, because here they shut down entire neighborhoods, and then you have like every other neighborhood's people wants to come and watch.
Yes, exactly. Well, we do keep it confidential where Better Call Saul is filming right now. Mm-hmm. The Breaking Bad people originally in Chicago, did they put up yellow signs with for directions for where to get to base camp?
Oh yeah, it's usually abbreviated, and sometimes it's under fake names. Like Transformers, I believe, had a fake name that they were filming under, but it was obvious that it was Transformers. Like not very many movies have Optimus Prime in them, other than other than Transformers, but it had some ridiculous code name.
Well, originally, Breaking Bad had the BRBA sign, and those were all taken by the community, and then the next code was WW. Gee, I wonder what that stood for.
Right.
and now for Better Call Saul, there are no signs. There are no signs. I know where they are tonight, but my lips are sealed. So,
gotcha. Do you ever take any of the tours that have kind of sprung up, like the Breaking Bad, like tourist tours? Have you ever been on one of those?
No, sir. I actually haven't been, but they're incredibly popular and approved of by Sony and AMC, which is nice. The number of tourists that we get here it's astounding.
And that's got to be super satisfying for you because you're such a huge part of that.
Well, I was at Lake Como last year, and somebody said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, "Albuquerque," and they went, "Oh, Breaking Bad." Like, I think people around the world can spell Albuquerque.
I haven't.
I just wanted to run an idea by you guys.
Yeah. Sure.
You know how terrific Bob Odenkirk is, and he gives back to the community, and he's just really terrific. And I was thinking about maybe asking him if he would consider maybe changing his name to Bob Odenkirky.
Oh, he might do it as a lark.
Yeah.
And I know there's a good handful of folks who will be listening to this podcast that says, "Wow, this woman has the coolest job ever. How do I become a film liaison?" So how exactly did you get into this position, and what can other people do to take steps to be in similar positions?
I guess one of the questions before they passed the film incentives, I was a producer for 20 years. I produced television commercials and have shot in Chicago with Ditka. That was really fun a long time ago. I am probably one of the luckiest people you're going to meet. In New Mexico, there's only 2 million people in a state that's the 5th largest in the nation. And I was friends with the mayor. And after the incentives passed, by the way, Gary Johnson, presidential candidate, was the governor at the time who signed it into law. So the mayor of Albuquerque at the time asked me if I would like to run a film office the following year. And I said, well, okay. And then, and I think my background in film and commercial and my knowledge of LA was helpful. And also knowing the community is very helpful. And then Mayor Barry asked me when he became mayor 7 years ago, asked me if I would like to stay on. And I said, yes, sir. It is the best job in the city. It's so much fun.
That's awesome.
You know, we actually, I've actually tried to get Mr. Barry on the show. So if next time you see the good mayor, you should tell him, be like, you know, I got these 2 chubby guys in Chicago that have a podcast. He's terrific. He really gets it. I mean, the economic impact, just from a day of filming, you know, or an episode for a major TV show of new money coming into our city is about $1.5 million. And the crew, 85%, maybe 90% of the crew are New Mexicans.
Oh, nice.
So it's, you know, people are, it's fun.
Well, awesome. Ann, thank you so much for coming on It's All Good Men. Send our regards to, the good mayor, Mayor Barry. And if Dave and I make it out to New Mexico, we'll definitely look you up. We can have that cup of coffee, and I hope to have you on again sometime in the future.
I'll give you cheap swag and buy you lunch.
Oh, that is awesome. I'm never one to turn down a free lunch.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thanks,
all right, Ann Lerner, film liaison for Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man.
So Ann Lerner, film liaison for Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'd say that's probably pretty fair statement that she has the coolest job in the world.
Yeah, it's funny because she's like, sarcastically says I have like this difficult job, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, if I had that job, it would be difficult because I don't have the personality for that to be like, hey, this is so great. I'm not a self-promoter, so
right.
I leave that up to you.
Well, well, she was very nice, very outgoing, totally interesting, and I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to talk to her. So I just want to give a big shout out to Rhiannon in the mayor's office who set that up for us. That was super cool of her, and then maybe we'll get Mayor Barry on one day. And it was funny that she brought up Governor Johnson because I've been trying to get him on since he's a presidential candidate.
You should tell him why not.
Yeah, why?
That's his campaign slogan, right?
Exactly.
I do hope that she didn't think I was quiet the whole time because I hate Albuquerque. I just want to let her know, like, that one spot I didn't talk for that reason. The rest of the time I didn't talk because you were just coming up with good questions. I thought you did a good job. That was all you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was going to come up with, in the back of my head, I don't know if you know, but Weird Al Yankovic has this like exceedingly long rambling song about Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I kept wanting to ask her about it, but I'm going to save it on the off chance that we get the mayor of Albuquerque on the show. I'm going to ask him what he thinks about Weird Al's Albuquerque.
That's funny. You know what else is funny? She's like, the whole world knows how to spell Albuquerque. I've been calling my fantasy football team the Albuquerque Isotopes ever since the Springfield Isotopes were going to move to Albuquerque. Remember that episode?
Yeah. Totally.
So, a couple years later, they got a minor league baseball team and named it the Isotopes.
Oh, that's so awesome.
That's how much of an impact the freaking Simpsons have on American pop culture, dude.
Dude, they are the Simpsons. Yeah, man. I know it's kind of waned, the past decade or so, but it'll be a sad day when it goes off the air. Me and you will just have to hold each other and watch the final episode.
I think so.
If that day ever comes. But Dave, awesome show. I'm so glad that we got to talk to Ann Lerner. Way cool. We're working on other interviews. Like I said, I've kind of had to pull it back a little bit just to get other ducks in a row. Mm-hmm. But it still is very much an ongoing process. And I would say somebody could probably expect another episode of It's All Good, Man coming up within the next month. In the meantime, please check out the Nothing Important podcast. We've added a third mic, a hilarious gentleman by the name of Jeff. We've had some great guests. Most recently, we had Kay Resnick, who is part of Mars One. She's one of the Mars One's candidates. Mm-hmm. We have Brian Howie from the Great Love Debate. It's a Podcast One podcast, Adam Carolla or Carolla One podcast, super popular touring relationship show. He's on our show as we're wrapping up recording right now, and I am posting that. And of course, we've also had a slew of great celebrities and guests and super notable people. And once I return to work, things are going to start rolling super heavily with Nothing Important. I got some plans that I'm kind of working on, how to kind of take it to the next level. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, who cares? We're having fun trying, right?
Exactly. I get to stretch my creative and technical boundaries and have a good time doing it.
Right. And I haven't been able to say it in a while, but of course, thank all of you, all the Twitter followers, all the listeners on iTunes and Google Play. Thank you so much. You've allowed Dave and I to do so much. We love interacting with you. And I'm going to think of a really kick-ass contest for this one stray shirt I have laying around here. I've already been in contact with the new folks. We have new folks at AMC. Our old guy has moved on to another project or with another production company. Mm-hmm. But I have talked to the nice new people that'll be working with us at AMC. So hopefully I can get some more cool swag this year to hand out to our cool listeners. Hopefully we'll get some of our classic returning guests on, and I still keep pushing for the big three. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They had to have at least. We've interviewed so many people. We've interviewed so many people that have corroborated on this show. There's no way that they haven't heard of us.
That's right.
There's no way. There's no way.
Also, go buy the theme song. Give us a budget.
Yeah. And most importantly, Dave and Tom remixed the theme song. They're selling it on iTunes. Make sure to check the links in the podcast description on how you can buy that. It's 99 cents. Me, I don't want any of the money from it. But it'd be nice if Dave and Tom got a little extra change in their pocket. It supports us. It supports them. And I'm
going to need a new hard drive soon because this podcast is taking up space.
and Dave needs a new hard drive. I'm kind of like figuring out ways to approach advertisers to help out as well. And but we can get into all that later. But thank you, Ann Lerner. Thank you, City of Albuquerque. Everybody who's ever been on the show, anybody who listens to the show, please make sure you subscribe. Give us those awesome kick-ass reviews on iTunes. Dave?
Call us idiots, call us geniuses, whatever. Just call us. And you know me, occasionally, I'll be quirky.
That's where you need to put like a rim shot.